episode of the Adeptus podcast. My name is DK Diamantes. His name is Bricky. And as usual, you know why you're here. And if you enjoyed today's episode and maybe, I don't know, you want to support the podcast, head over to patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, or you can get access to the Discord, bloopers if they happen. $15 tier gets you access to all of our posters in crispy HD digital form. You can, I believe, follow for free, and you can start a free trial, and it will cost you a credit card. Won't cost you a credit card. You'll just need a credit card number. Patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous for all of your Adeptus Ridiculous needs. Bricky, how's life?
Life is all right. We're doing our usual type of thing.
Hell yeah.
Nothing too crazy is going on right now. We're living it. We're living life. Things are going on. We're living a dream. We're starting Galaxy in Flames. Getting that book club going, working on that. We're out here selling merch at orchidate.com. Check it out. We're selling dice and hoodies and posters. There's a lot of things going on.
Hi everyone, Bricky here. Today's episode is about super weapons, and there's no more super weapon in your pocket than the amazing quality and great price of the Raycon Everyday Earbuds. The Raycon Everyday Earbuds are a fantastic choice for not just yourself, but for all of your friends this holiday season. They have fantastic audio quality, they have a very long battery life, charge quickly, and are just so easily stored and carried. They have great active noise cancellation as well as an awareness mode to, swap immediately on the fly. I use them to listen to pretty much all of the audiobooks that we have for, this podcast. So I would genuinely highly recommend them as someone who uses them constantly. And you can save a ton this holiday season by going to buyraycon.com/adric to get up to 25% off site-wide. That is buyraycon.com/adric. So go ahead and click the link in the description, check it all out, and thank you Raycon so much for sponsoring this video.
That sounds great. Yeah.
You know what's not great?
The warp.
Yeah. Not bad. All right.
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, that's pretty true. What else is not great?
Chaos, Abaddon, Angron in general, no matter what time period you find him,
True. Black holes, that's also true. A vacuum.
Vacuum definitely sucks, but vacuum can also blow.
That's true. That is extremely true. She's gone from suck to blow.
I am so glad you got that. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, that's not. It's whatever. Anyway, so today we have an episode on things that suck.
Oh no!
Things that are not good. Which I'm sure.
Are we going to talk about your warp suck hole theory again?
No, but I was very proud of that theory.
It's pretty good, actually. I'm not gonna lie, it's okay.
No, it's pretty good. But what's more important than any of the warp suck hole theory is the things that come from it. But not always. Sometimes. There are things in the warp that are a little bit scary. You're familiar with scary things, yeah?
Oh, yes. Especially in 40K. There's a premium on scary stuff. Yep.
So what are your thoughts on, quote, wrought by my hand, bathed in my blood, bound to my will, by these ways that I forge a fetish meant to draw forth the infinite energies beyond our reality. Simple as it may appear to be, it is my gateway to understanding.
Ooh, this seems like some chaos shenanigans.
You're pretty close.
Yep. And as soon as I heard the fetish thing, I was like, oh, maybe it's Slanesh. But then it's like, ooh, but it's bound by my blood. And I was like, ooh, maybe it's Korn too. Maybe it's like a world. Well, I mean, or it could just be some crazy dark magic warp shenanigans. Kind of sounds a little like Dark Eldari too.
It's not. It's definitely chaos related. It is not Dark Eldari. That just throws me.
I've heard too fantasy pilled. Instead of saying Drukari, it's just like, oh yeah, they're the dark elves, and it's like, ah.
Well, I only hear like Dark Eldar too, but like Dark Eldari is we're really kind of splitting hairs here.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's also Druchii in fantasy because Druchii violets. I remember that specifically because of the paint.
That's true. That's true. I kept calling them dark elves, and I did not call them Druchii much. Anyway, I guess my guess would probably be a Slaanesh related thing because I feel like we've done corn related stuff recently-ish. So I am going to go with some serious chaos Slaanesh vibes. Yeah.
Slaanesh vibes.
Yeah.
Yes, what a phrase. I mean, it's certainly chaos, no doubt. But no. Do you remember back when we said we were going to do a Dark Mechanicus episode, and we did, and then we were like, damn, there's some really funny weapons here and some horrifying creations. This could like fill out a whole episode.
Oh, is that what we're doing today?
A whole episode. We are talking about weird crap. Weird, random things in 40K, either from the Dark Mechanicus and their various heretics, or weird occult artifacts and other bizarre items such as those.
Okay, I am happy to be wrong, because this sounds like it is going to be a bussin' episode.
Bussin'?
Yeah.
You're the oldest one out of all of us.
Yeah.
Bussin'.
And?
Okay.
Bussin'.
All right.
Yeah. I picked that up from the YouTubes. Was watching shorts on if a guy freshly out of prison thought that food was bussin' or disgusting.
Damn, that's awful. That's awful. Okay, lovely.
Hey, he's a great creator.
Bussin' makes me feel good. Anyway, so one of the things as I was going through this, the couple of I guess they're PDFs, but books or whatever, were from the various areas of the Dark Heresy, which Dark Heresy it's super illegally obtained, by the way. Dark Heresy is the like Rogue Trader rulebook type tabletop RPG 40K thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Remember when we did that whole thing on various psychic powers?
Yeah.
It's those like books. And in them, they have a couple of interesting sections on different types of things in the Dark Mechanicum. One of the ones was the one that we talked about before, things like the Logicians. They have the different kinds of factions that go on, not to mention that all of these books are rife with some of the old school John Blanche artwork, which is it's just so good. It's so peak. It's a style that it's not my favorite style. I like the newer, like super hyper gritty. But I will always have massive respect for the OG John Blanche stuff. It really turned the setting into what it is.
He paved the way
absolutely.
For where we are now.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
But with that being said, there is a whole chapter on things like the forbidden sciences and occult artifacts. And one of the things you maybe remember before we start this episode, I was asking Shai about a contest thing, because after reading a large amount of these occult artifacts that they have, they're basically magical items, but they're magical items with drawbacks. And I find the ones specifically in the Dark Heresy stuff to be really, really cool. And I was thinking about the concept of holding a contest for our viewers on who can make the coolest artifact. Who can make the coolest, like, cursed artifact? Because they all follow a similar thing. It's like, hey, here's this cool thing that gives you stuff. But if you use the cool thing that gives you stuff for too long, things go bad. And then there's issues, you know?
Ooh, I like that. I like that idea. That's good. That's good. You can make some really cursed, weird stuff. I like it.
Yeah, like you know what? For example, let's start with one.
Okay, let's go.
The lens of seeing. So, the lens of seeing is
glasses.
A monocle, more so.
Okay.
A farseer.
Yeah. Hey, boom. I was gonna say we're starting off kooky crazy here, boys. This is some insane, wild shenanigans. We've got
glasses. Well, I guess more particularly glass.
Glass.
One glass. The lens of seeing. It is a simple monocle. It is often worn by the aristocracy, of course, and it is made of just the most fine crystal. It is beautiful, and the frame of it is gold wire with little symbols and sigils with a nice little bit of chain so it can be attached to your clothes. You know, it's a classic monocle.
Cool.
It appears to be very benign. However, when it was found, often by the radical inquisitor, a guy named Emil Amud, whatever,
Sure.
he actually was able to use it to decipher tomes in the possession of cultists of chaos, because he was able to decipher it in whatever script they were writing it in, whatever chaotic, weird script.
Okay. So it's a lens that just auto-translates basically anything.
Pretty much. It is a pure translator of anything, including things like demonic script. And so eventually he was driven to madness from the secrets. And so when he was going to attack a group of cultists, he realized there were 10 times the amount of cultists there, and he was then killed, but the lens was never found. And so as it proliferates its way around in the galaxy, the lens of seeing is a tempestuous item. So, for example, in the actual game, in like the tabletop RPG variant, what it does is it allows you, you activate it by doing like it's called an invocation test. And when you can do it, you can make sense of any text, regardless of origin or your understanding. Any single language, demonic and chaotic script, ciphers, encryptions, codes, Xenos tongue, does not matter. You, sir, can read it.
Okay.
However, every time, sorry, you're going to hear a lot of however in this episode.
Yeah.
But every time you use, sorry, I smacked my hand on my desk.
That sounded wonderful. That sounded like it really felt great.
That was not my favorite. Nope. While it's pretty cool, every time you use it, you gain a singular insanity point. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it goes to like 100. I don't fully remember, but I think from the last episode we talked about, it was like, I think 100's the max, where you're like clinically insane and you have to be removed from the game.
Yeah.
And you keep that total, but you also keep it like separate from the other ones, because when you get 10 insanity points from the lens, you need to make like a trauma test. And if you fail, it doesn't really matter much on the actual mental trauma, but it just kind of reflects how much control the lens has over the player.
Oh, okay. So, like, it sounds like it's... I mean, it sounds like it's like, oh yeah, the lens lets you read anything, but it's more what you read that's making you crazy, not necessarily the lens. Like if you're reading demonic tomes and stuff, it's like, well,
no, it's the lens, because
it is specifically like no matter what you transfer with it, or no matter what you translate with it, even if it's just like a completely benign, totally safe, like, I don't know, exodite something or another.
Yes, it's not
still
about
gonna make you crazy.
It's not about what you read; it's the fact that you're reading.
Okay. I it sounded like it was like, oh yeah, he read a demonic text and he was like, demonic text, that's making me crazy. Let me attack the cultist. Got you. Okay. So it's just, as long as you use it, it's gonna make you go out of your mind.
So as long as you keep using it, eventually you will refuse to be without the lens. If you reach 40 insanity points, you will double check all written documents with the lens for secret meetings and messages. If you reach 60 insanity points, you will only ever read documents with the lens. And if you reach 80 insanity points, you cannot read anything without the lens. And then, in addition, after you reach 60 plus insanity points, the lens itself will start to completely alter what you are reading. and subtly change words and sentences depending on how much the DM wants to cause it to happen.
Oh, all right.
So
That's cool. So the lens just starts to take over.
It's an obsession artifact. You start to freak out. You read with the lens. You then can only read with the lens, and then the lens starts changing up what it says on you. Because artifacts are funny.
Oh, that's cool that the lens will literally change what the text says and what it's showing you. Are there any? I was about to ask. Are there any instances of like the lens changing text on someone and then them doing some like crazy traitor thing because like, well, the paper said and it's like, no, it doesn't. You're crazy.
Well, the original Inquisitor that died was met with 10 times the amount of cultists than the lens told him there would be.
Okay.
But
I thought you just meant he went to attack a bunch of cultists that he shouldn't have because he saw a demonic tome and it was just like, oh shoot, there are more of these guys than I thought. Okay, got you.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, the lens told him there would probably be like 100, but in reality there was 1,000. The lens lied to him.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
And then, yeah, like this is one of the fun things about, I mean, this is what it tells the GM often to do, as Shai quote him, show the item in action, show how awesome it is, tempt your players to use it, explain how awesome it is and how powerful it is, and then when they use it as a crutch for a while, bring out the drawbacks and make them suffer.
So you don't initially lead with the fact that like, oh yeah, this is a cursed artifact. It's just like, hey guys, look, it's a lens that translates everything. Don't you want to use it? It's so great. You'll never have to make any sort of skill checks for text again. And then they just start using it over and over again. It's like, by the way, lens is making you crazy.
I mean, you know, there's always the possibility that someone on your team has a fancy bit of like arcane knowledge and maybe can like test the lens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and obviously you don't want them to be suspicious of it, but there is, you know, it's a DM, you're a GM, you know, your job is to give them the tools and also give them the downsides.
True. Cool.
There is another one called the bone flute.
Oh, great.
So the bone flute is made from a human femur. And it plays music that is specifically not particularly the most lovely music. It's a little strange and bizarre. It's, as the person who made it said, a way to play the music of the cosmos. And, you know, like, it's unknown if he succeeded because he committed self-terminate soon after. In fact, he committed self-terminate really well, considering that his dismembered body was scattered around his quarters. But
yeah, that's okay, sure, yeah, that's okay. Cool.
So, you know, it's considered a bit unlucky.
That's one way to put it, sure.
And so when you play the flute, you need to do a performer test, a musician test, to create a piece of music the warp will find appealing. And what listeners hear will be very different, obviously. But if you do it, you can then play the bone flute. And while you're doing that, you project a 50-meter range where mechanical devices will completely cease to function. Weapons will jam, fail to fire, chain swords and power weapons won't activate, times will be off, auspices will have weird readings. It'll just completely go haywire with everything.
Ooh, so very, very handy tool to have. And it sounds like the downside is, well, if you play a tune the warp doesn't like, the warp does what the warp does.
Well, not quite. So a little bit, but at least in game, you will play the music and all the usual stuff. But then the moment you keep playing based on your willpower tests, but if you stop playing for any reason, a roll is made on the psychic phenomenon table. For the warp makes its displeasure known for having its music interrupted.
Ah, okay.
Chai and DK, please make a roll a D100 from the psychic phenomenon table. This silence offends Slanesh.
I was gonna say it sounds very Slaanesh coded with the how dare you stop the music? We need noise, we need something, we need stimuli, you know? Also, did you actually want us to roll a D100?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. D100.
Absolutely.
All right. Roll a D100 die. I got this.
You
roll.
have stopped playing the bone flute.
Stop. 54.
54. You, Sir DK, are affected by warp ghosts. Ghostly apparitions fill the air within 3D 10 meters around the psyker, flying about and howling in pain for a few brief moments. Everyone in the radius, except for the psyker, must attest, again, a fear rating of 1. And Shy rolled a 61, which is Banshee Howl. A shrill keening rings out across the immediate area, shattering glass and forcing every mortal creature able to hear it to pass a challenging toughness test or be deafened for 1d10 rounds.
Wow, that's fun.
I know.
That's fun. That sucks. So just keep playing the flute.
Yep, just keep playing the flute. It's a simple one.
That damn flute. Yeah.
All right. The next funny one here we have is the Forge of Nightmares.
Oh, okay. All right. This sounds like a bad one to use no matter which way you roll it, but all right. Let's hear about the Forge of Nightmares.
So the Forge of Nightmares is a massive biomechanical structure that is full of oily black lattice support structures, braces, and the outer shell of it is barely constrained against the inner, bulging, ready, fleshy mass that expands and contracts at a regular rate like a giant beating heart. It is 4 greater and lesser furnaces that are all 2 to 3 meters in height, while the central one is over 10 meters tall. And even when it is like supposed to be not, on, the furnaces all draw in air through a giant vent, uncomfortably like a human respirating.
Oh boy.
Now, in these vents with openings that resemble gigantic distended mouths, this holds the terrifying demon engine of sorts forge that the Ordo Malleus considers such a threat that a full operation will need to be used against it, because this forge can cause an overwhelming chaos presence and take over the planet.
Oh, okay. Yup, that's bad. Definitely need to get rid of that. That's no good.
Not a great thing. But DK, you, sir, you're a chaos cultist, right? You love chaos.
I sure do.
Let's go.
Let's go. Warp be praised. I love you.
Hell yes. Fantastic to hear. So let's say you want to turn on the Forge of Nightmares. You really want to get this shit rolling. So what does every chaos ritual need?
Human sacrifices,
He's
obviously.
Done it again, baby!
Let's go! What else does a good chaos ritual need than the blood of the innocent and a human sacrifice? Let's go!
Let's go. So, the Forge will consume souls as you feed them into the furnace itself, appearing to then swallow the victim and then shudder out blood and other unnameable fluids from its orifices as it eats the soul. Now, if you are a sorcerer, can attempt a ritual to fully activate the Forge, which is a very hard -30. They do like a 100 test in these, so it's like a -30. With every 8 sacrifices after the initial test, reducing the difficulty by 5.
Oof.
So if you are at -30, if you can find yourself a lovely, whatever 6 times 8 is, what is that, 42?
Yeah, sure.
48? 48.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, 48.
It's somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. You will be back to a 0 and then more. Now,
hooray.
Once activated, though, once you begin to start it up, great things will occur. It will pour out of horrifying shrieks and howls from its vents, begin to break down the barrier between the warp and the real world, and a full-scale psychic warp storm will begin to rage above you, showering you with flesh and blood. Lightning will strike, as it says here, not in bolts, but in sheets. Spirits will walk freely, devices will suffer from a myriad of problems, failing outright, and the weak will go hopelessly mad.
Nice. Yeah, as soon as you're like, oh yeah, a bunch of nice stuff happens, I'm like, yeah, nice for the chaos cultists, not for anybody else. Nice for anybody in the warp. Those Imperium guys probably think it sucks. Also, how big was this thing again? Like, this thing is massive. Right?
This central stack is about 10 meters tall.
What's that in Merkin?
In Merkin, it's about 32 feet.
Okay, so it's a big boy.
It's a 3-story tall, it's a big boy.
Yeah, I was going to say, this isn't something you're really lugging around in your backpack and you're taking from planet to planet. This is kind of on one planet and you're kind of like, it's staying there.
Yes, it is on the planet there and now, and it is not, it's not moving. But this, I imagine, in a campaign is either a use to, your main objective is to stop it, or your main objective is to turn it on.
Yeah, definitely.
And then that happens.
Boss activated the Forge of Nightmares. Hooray!
Hooray!
Hooray! Yay!
The next one we have in the occult artifacts is the Libellus Appello, or the Book of Names. This is a small book, barely larger than the Imperial Infantryman's Uplifting Primer, as I'm sure you're aware of.
Of course.
And its cover is made of wooden plates and human skin.
Okay, yeah, 40K, that tracks. Yeah, not. So it kind of looks like the Necronomicon. All right, that's fine.
It's even got a little tongue.
Oh, it does have a little tongue, doesn't it?
But the brass lock on the side is also made to look like the 8-pointed Star of Chaos, and the pages are made of a very fine vellum, to kind of dress through each of it, each of the pages as you sift through all of the pages, but. This book in particularly is a guide to the true names of demons, as well as how to divine them through examination of astronomical phenomena. You are using astronomy to divine the true nature of demons with a bookmark tongue in the inside of the book.
Yeah. But that is a super important book then, because you know a demon's true name, you permadeath them, right? Like if you speak their truth, that's a permadeath. So hey, I don't care if that bookmark is a tongue. Hey, if you're in the Imperium, you want that book, right? You need that book. I must have that book.
I actually don't know if you permadeath a demon by its true name, but you can banish them really well.
Oh, okay. I thought that was why they kept their names so secret. Is because they can permadeath me if they know it.
You actually might be right. I'm not quite sure. The only time I ever really hear much about a demon's true names is Grey Knights. They're basically the only folks that I really know about that really go hard into the true names of demons. And I mean, and like parts of the Inquisition and stuff. No doubt. But
yeah.
However, a true name of a demon is not just about banishment. When you think about it, what else could you do if you knew the true name of a demon?
I guess you could probably summon them, couldn't you?
Exactly. So, so this book in the Dark Heresy tabletop game is to summon demons. I'm sure the GM would give you the option to do it for the opposite, but.
Sure.
You get a plus 30 bonus to Forbidden Lore demon test as soon as he knows the demon's true name by using a large amount of scholastic lore in astromancy.
Ooh.
And reading from the book cover to cover will give you a bonus to your Forbidden Lore, but also will slowly corrupt your soul. Naturally.
As it should. That's fair. I thought the drawback was going to be, well, congratulations. You summoned a demon, idiot.
I feel like this is definitely one of those like, hey, congratulations, you summoned a demon. Yay.
Yeah, now there's the demon. We never said we'd give you control of the demon. But now, hey, you brought the demon here. Good job. Deal with it.
That, or just a general level of like, hey, you got the demon, and because you got the demon, you can just like maybe he's your buddy now. Maybe he likes you. Maybe you guys are friends. Of necessity.
Yeah. Oh, Shai said, hilariously, demon Primarchs should technically count as demons with true names, since they have true names given by the Emperor, not the names they got on the planets. So I want to imagine making my players summon fucking Mortarion.
I mean...
Or Angron.
That would be pretty funny. Though I imagine Mortarion would just say no. Like I get the feeling that a demon has to like want to be summoned sometimes. Mm-hmm. So Mortarion's like, I'm busy.
You imagine you summon Angron and he just rips your arms off and beats you to death with them.
I feel like he wouldn't even do that. I feel like he would just like hit you once in the head with his fist and like turn you into a pancake.
Yeah, just turn you into mulch. Yeah.
Yeah, just crush you. So that's the Liveless Apello. There's another one that's like the mech spider, which is basically just like a spider fashioned off of a human head that acts as like a surveillance thing for chaos, but it's not like the most interesting. Yeah. One that I find really funny is and I quote, the glory of the Emperor and the light of dawn.
The glory of the Emperor and the light of dawn, huh?
The glory of the Emperor and the light of dawn.
Wow, I mean that just sounds like some Imperium nonsense. That doesn't even sound like some cool dark mechanicum, dark anything. What Bricky, what is this thing?
This is probably the most Slaanesh coded thing I've ever read. So
let's go.
The glory of the Emperor and the light of dawn is a blasphemous abstract painting showing the god Emperor greeting the rising sun over Holy Terra. It is surreal and unsettling, as it is mainly painted in shades of yellow, gold, blue, and white, which is actually more Tzeentchian colored, but this just makes... Actually, it could be pretty Tzeentchian coded, now that I think about it. But regardless, when you look at it, it almost feels as if the painting is looking back at the viewer when viewed for a long length of time. If you were to examine it closely, you would notice it is composed of thousands of human shapes wrought out of solid silver. Each of the tiny human figures is perfect in every single detail, entwined about one another in positions of either ecstasy or anguish. That's right, that's why I thought it was Slaanesh coded, because ecstasy or anguish.
Mm.
I was like, I wonder why. Like, yeah, now I remember.
Definitely Slaanesh coded.
And so the painting also has a couple other weird traits, such as the painting is always warm to the touch. The figures that make up the frame slowly move and twist, orbiting the painting itself, and the colors that make up the painting gradually shift and creep over ever so slowly across the canvas.
Ooh, freaky.
However, while it is unnerving, the painting is basically it just exists. It is not malicious unless it is applied with a thin layer of new varnish. It is a thin line of black crust where the canvas meets the frame, which reveals that the varnish is, in fact, human blood.
Of course it is. All right. Yep. There it is. I was like, yeah, it's a creepy painting, but, what's the big deal about that? You varnish it in blood. Of course you do. As you do with painting, sure.
As you do. So if you have the glory of the Emperor and the light of dawn, you can apply a thin layer of blood to the painting, followed by an invocation test. This will, if you do it properly, it must be fresh human blood. If it's not human, or if it is thinned in any way, it will automatically fail. And you must... Ooh, wait, hold on. This is a table I'm not familiar with. Contempt of the Warp table.
Ooh. And of course, as it has to be fresh. You can't have old human blood or anything like this. It's got to be fresh. Fresh.
Oh darn! I don't know about the contempt of the Warp table. However, it looks like it's another table that basically is like you're basically not making fun of, but you're being rude to the demons.
Oh,
like
you want us to roll?
The Warp is upset with you. I'm trying to find the contempt of the Warp table. Here it is. Yeah, let's roll it. How about you two roll it?
D100 again?
D100.
All right. I got 87.
87 struck down. The character is blasted with the raw energies of the warp and takes 2d10 energy damage by weapon quality. The foully seething energies fill the character and he gains 1d10 corruption points.
Oh, cool.
For Shy, she is ignored. Silence and stillness greet the heretic's efforts. He has failed, but he has survived unscathed.
Could be worse.
Yes, it could be. Contempt of the Warp can have modifiers. And if you roll a 121 plus, you are devoured. Reality is sundered as the heretic is sucked screaming into the warp or devolved into a mindless puddle of twisted flesh. The character is worse than dead.
Oh, wow. Yeah, imagine all that because you're just like, no, I'll use some Xenos blood.
Great stuff.
That's pretty good.
But let's say you don't mess with that too much and you instead properly utilize the glory of the Emperor and the Light of Dawn. By adding the blood on it, its visage will change and contort into a face or the semblance of a face, in which, once awakened, the painting will then answer any questions asked.
Oh. And there's no sort of trickery. It will answer any question. It'll tell you the answer. There's no...
That is up to the DM.
Okay. Wow, this is kind of Zinch coded too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot more Zinch coded right there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of both, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But it is just it's very funny.
That is quite the painting. It doesn't seem like it's worth it to mess with the painting, to be honest with you. Like, maybe you get your question answered, maybe you don't, but it's like, there's a lot that could go wrong too. Like, I don't know if that's one of those ones that'd be just cool to hang up in your room, right? Like, I would just like to have the twisting frame and the crazy visage of just hang that up. Don't varnish it though. Or does anything happen if you don't varnish it after a certain amount of time? Like, does it go crazy on you or something?
No, it appears to be completely benign. Well, not benign. It looks horrifying and it's moving, but like,
sure,
it seems to be mostly fine.
All right.
Also, yeah, like, come on. Yeah, exactly. Like, it is not considered a heretical artifact by the Imperium because there's no way chaos could ever corrupt the visage of the Emperor.
Okay. All right, Imperium. Okay. Sure.
No way.
No chance. Ain't no shot, brother. No shot.
So this is kind of what I was talking about, where I think that we should absolutely hold a contest for demonic artifact, or not necessarily demonic, but occult artifacts with our viewers, because I'm just thinking about all the possibilities of, like, hey, here's this fun little benign artifact and here's the drawbacks, and here's how to activate it, and like the whole thing. It would be a great review option.
I would agree. I think that is a solid idea.
So, onwards and forwards. Going from there, these are most of the occult items that are at least present in this little. It's a codex, a rule book, I guess. Whatever.
Rule book, yeah.
There are, of course, demon weapons, but you know what about a demon weapon? Plenty. It's a weapon with a demon in it.
Sure.
It's the classic type stuff there. But then there's the more classic ad mech or dark mech items. And some of those can get pretty goofy. For example, you have the Colofian Psi engine, which I know Shai is very excited to talk about.
Oh, is that did we talk about that last time? The brain box?
Oh, we did talk about the brain box. Oh, shit. Oh, my bad. I didn't realize.
Yeah, we mentioned it briefly towards, I think, the end of the episode, where it's a psyker brain. It gets poked and prodded until the brain is real mad and then does psyker stuff at you.
I mean, does psyker stuff is maybe a bit misleading, but
yeah, broad strokes, I know, but yeah.
But yes, it does do psyker stuff. That is very true. So the Colofian Psi Engine is a special, barely controlled dread weapon that is used by the old Archmagos. I think her name was like Kalof, so it's the Colofian Psi Engine.
Yeah.
It houses psyker brains and is goaded with a long needle-like prod, like gun thing that is warm with like the hand that fires out just the powers of the warp. It shoots warp energy like a gun.
Lovely.
It is extremely lovely. And what it is this heretic decided that in order to eliminate the very annoying human element in her psyker resources, she decided that she would have her coven make vats of giant pulsing psyker brains. All of the other flesh cut away from their bodies and their minds within afflicted by a form of blind insanity.
Yeah, that sucks for the psychers. Boy, it's never good to be a psycher. So do you think those psychers would you call those psychers still quote unquote alive?
Well, what is living truly?
Right?
And what
Truly,
is a soul?
Right? Because I'm just like, brother, I hope they're actually dead. Because,
well, they're definitely not dead because their brains are alive and they're in a gun and they're screaming insanity.
True.
So they're definitely alive. That being said, yeah, they basically just stripped them of everything of their body and just use the brain. And so now you have your like gun psyker brain device. And DK and Shy, please roll a D100 to see what happens when you fire this weapon.
All right, let's get it. And 57.
57. One target suffers 3d10 plus 10 energy damage as warp lightning arcs from the director's wand. This is the most common option, as it is basically the classic blast shot.
Okay.
For Shy, everything in a 10-meter... so this is 36. Everything in a 10-meter sphere about the target is engulfed in witch fire and suffers 2d10 plus 5 energy damage. Unfortunately for you, Shy, you need to now roll on the psychic phenomenon table as you have done some shenanigans.
Some witch fire shenanigans. What's the best thing that could happen?
I will tell you.
If you rolled 100.
I will tell him all. 56. Shy, you are getting warp ghosts as well. You have set everything in fire, and now screaming apparitions are flying around.
Very on brand for her.
If you do 71, it is the exact same thing as what she just got, but no psychic phenomena.
Ah, okay.
Now there are some hilarious ones. DK, let's say you rolled a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or a 1 to 3. The Psi engine,
something I'd do.
The Psi engine ruptures under the strain of the tortured brains, and the tortured brains within expire in a giant psychic death scream. DK, please roll on the psychic phenomenon table 3 times for me.
Oh, 3 times?
3 times, please.
Oh, all right. First one is 85.
Okay, roll the second.
Second one, I got an 85 again.
Okay,
Great.
roll the third.
40.
40. Okay, we'll do the 40 first. 40. Unnatural decay. All plant life within 3d10 meters of the psyker withers and dies. That's a little rough.
That sucks.
However, 85 is Perils of the Warp, and you rolled it twice. Can you please roll an additional D100 for me for your first Perils of the Warp?
Oh, no.
Twice,
45.
please.
45 and 8.
Okay. 45 is Warp Whispers. The voices of demons fill the air within 4d10 meters of the psyker, whispering terrible and shocking truths. Everyone in the area, including the psyker, must make a willpower test or gain a corruption points equal to the damage. You also will suffer an additional amount of willpower damage. The other one is Warp Burn. A violent burst of energy from the warp smashes into the psyker's mind, and then sending him reeling, and you are stunned for a ton of rounds.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it'd be a lot worse than that, but again, could it be worse? Absolutely.
I wanted you to roll a 100 because that one's annihilation.
Oh, it's just straight up, you're dead. Just
yeah. So you guys fired this weapon. Well, technically you fired it 3 times, but I the third one didn't really count because I told you to make a 1. But basically, yeah, one guy gets hit with psychic energy damage and just disintegrates. Shy turns him into fire, and now there are ghosts screaming around. You turned everything into fire again without ghosts screaming around, but immediately afterwards, you are seared. You are immediately seared by the voices of demons in the air and blasted in the brain so hard you are knocked out.
Ah, boy, things can get really out of hand in this game, huh? If everybody is like using
That's right. I'm sorry. And all the plants are dead.
Yeah. Well, this is set in 40K. Where are there plants anymore these days, right? Everything is corrupted and it's fine.
That's
plant
true.
things not a big deal.
That's true. The next one we have here is the apostatic matrix.
Ooh.
The apostatic matrix. It is also you ruined your brain gun. All the psyker brains exploded. So that's not good.
Sorry.
The apostatic matrix is it looks like a walking stick. It's like a club. Of course, it is a club covered in interesting words and runes and artifacts and a million little whirring gears and tiny items underneath, because this is very much an AdMech item.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The apostatic matrix is a very bizarre weapon where whenever you strike the opponent with it, it will literally remove a part of their soul. It will destroy the entire root of your faith.
Wow.
This is one of those rule of cool. I'm not even going to try to pretend like I understand. Even in the world of 40K, it doesn't make any sense. You are hit with it, and it finds the part of your brain that is entirely about faith, and it kills it.
Whoa. That's...
It doesn't kill your
okay.
soul. It doesn't like remove your soul, but it
kills your faith.
It kills that part of your soul. It reaches in to the very mechanisms of the soul and, quote, pouring toxins and pain upon the roots of faith and burning away memories of worship with agonizing darts of electro essence. I'm sure it made sense to some people.
Wow. So all right. That is quite the stick. That is so essentially that's the atheist making rod.
I actually have that in my notes. I literally had like it's like the fedora walking stick. It's the this is what those damn liberals want. They're gonna start beating people with the atheism stick. This is the future they want. Next thing you know, they're gonna bring out the gay prongs.
It's too topical, man. It's too topical. It's too topical, man.
It's literally the atheism stick. Yeah. Now, granted, of course, getting rid of that part is particularly interesting because the instant anguish is awful. But the main horror of it is that the quote flower of faith in the God Emperor withers and dies. So loyal imperial citizens will, in their mind, basically be removed from the Emperor's light. You are, in a sense, to them, in their brain, you have immediately killed their way to heaven. Like you've completely killed their acceptance into heaven.
Ooh, so this walking stick, big deal. Like you don't want this thing falling into the wrong hands.
Ironically, this Luger will send Christian to hell. Ironically, it's actually been occasionally used by the Imperials because killing the Faith Center also can mean killing any and all devotion to the dark powers and the warp.
Ooh. So is there any record of it being used against, like, maybe there was an Inquisitor that used to be really great, and as Inquisitors have been known to do, they fall to chaos, they want power. Has one ever been just like, wham! And then like, oh, shit, I don't like chaos at all. That's right, damn. And then they kind of were accepted again?
Not quite. Part of it was written that said some radicals have found the apostatic matrix to be a potent addition to the interrogation chamber and take great pleasure in setting the tool of the archenemy upon blackened heretic souls. The strongest devotees of the ruinous powers are given to babbling despair under it. So it's more so used to remove your faith in the dark gods.
Right. It's more to just torture heretics.
Yes. You can also use the stick as just a stick. The killing with kindness ability, which is just smacking them without like causing any issues.
Okay. I like this. I like the atheism stick. I like all the different options it has and all the weird shenanigans it can do. This is my favorite one of the day.
This one's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a thing called the Vor weapons. Yes, it's spelt that way.
Okay.
It is not what you think it is.
I vaguely remember this because I made a horrible Warframe reference, and yep.
I mean, it's basically just like a biogenetically engineered worm type thing, which is an assassin's tool. It's a spiky, gross-ass assassin's tool made from heretic stuff, Xenos material, etc. And basically it's a thin, worm-like creature less than a hand in length with a ton of hard spines. It can leap across a room and employ the hooks and spines and, basically just be really fast and aggressive and eat its way through your flesh and murder you.
Num-nums.
It just gets on. Once it bites you, that's it. That's the end.
Yeah, sure. So literally, it is just an assassin's worm. They throw it. It finds its target.
I mean, pretty much. Yeah.
Huh.
It arrives, it eats, and then it's just done. It is literally like a quick assassin weapon, and it won't work against things like armor, but flesh, obviously.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
This one was particularly funny, and it's one of the few final occult items that we have, because there are a lot of dark mech creatures. There's things like the, what is it called? It's like the bronze malefic, I think is its name. Oh, goodness gracious, what is it? Bronze malefics. Oh, I'm so good.
Hey, look at you.
Let me go. Let's go.
Look at you. Let's go.
There are a lot of weird things. Like the bronze malefic is a gigantic demonic creature of bronze with 1,000,000 limbs and stabby bits. But this is like actually a profile. This has strength, toughness, health. Like this is a thing that you fight. You've also got the dreaming dead of Hive Gloriana, the false men of Nomen Rhine, the Logi demons, etc. There's a lot of those things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. A lot of demons. Cool.
Yeah, this is in, you know how in D&D they have like the creature book of all the crazy creatures?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is basically that. It's the Dark Heresy Creatures Anathema.
Okay, cool.
So it's its own like fun little doodad of like, oh hey, here's the Xenos beasts, here's the Death World beasts, etc.
Do you have a specific beast in there that's like just seems a little different, a little kookier, a little crazier?
I honestly, they're all kooky and crazy. The bronze malefic is like the one that I think kind of illustrates the dark dark mechanicum the most, because if you look at it, it's just a gigantic thing of limbs in a horrifying bronze beast.
Yeah, that definitely seems like very dark mech. Like, it is just an amalgamation of bronze limbs.
Yeah, it is a ton of weird crap. But one of the fun ones I thought was kind of neat was Madani's music box.
Oh.
So it's a music box, This item is about the size of a thick data slate. and it has a ton of gears and levers inside of it that whir very quickly when you start operating its crank. Now, it says that it only ever plays one piece of music, Nuella's Lament to the Fallen of Juno. No one knows who Nuella was or who the Fallen of Juno were. That doesn't matter. But it is a sad song, and those who listen to it will become entirely enraptured, ignoring everything else and just swaying to the tune.
Oh.
Now,
Well, that's pretty handy. Okay.
oh, it's great. It's nice and lovely. When the tune ends, all listeners will fall to the ground as their skin erupts with lesions and scars. Completely driven mad without it, all of these people suffering would thrash uncontrollably, pleading to hear the music once again. Where they would, like, entire hablocks and cities would go into massive frenzies, ripping everything apart in a frantic desire to recapture the song. Recordings will not satisfy, neither will broadcasts. Only the box itself will satiate these completely maddened, stricken souls.
Holy shit. I was about to say that's like me after I get a song stuck in my head, but damn.
Does it also give you cold sores all across the body?
All across my body. Yep, it's like, oh my god, what was that song? I gotta hear it again.
Blow up into hives?
Holy shit. That's crazy.
Oh, Shy is a fun one. You want to read this one, DK?
I would love to. Mecronid armor. Discovered in the ruins of Molus, this unique set of armor has sparked much debate amongst the Ordos Xenos as to whether this device is truly an alien in its own right, a parasite of sort, or simply a device employed by its alien creators. Resembling not so much as a pool of liquid metal, the device responds to external stimulation, although is resistant to auspex scans. When the metal comes into contact with human skin, it begins to coalesce, slithering over the skin to form a protective sheath, much like armor. The metal is cool to the touch and responds to attacks by becoming momentarily super dense, deflecting impacts or energy blasts across its surface. Using Mecronid armor does have its downsides, however. So long as the wearer remains conscious, the armor remains protective. As soon as the wearer loses consciousness, however, the parasite armor attempts to slither inside the wearer, either consuming or taking control of him from within long enough to find a new host. Either way, it is often fatal for the wearer. If the wearer of the armor loses consciousness, he must make an immediate willpower test. Failure indicates that the armor is trying to crawl within him, suffocating him at a rate of 1d10 damage per round, ignoring armor or toughness bonuses. Death indicates that the armor has taken control of the victim, crudely manipulating his body into doing its bidding, normally hunting down another unwitting target.
Let's go. The armor has a mind of its own.
Yeah, love that. It's like, oh, you lost consciousness? Let me just slip inside you.
Yeah, the armor wears you.
Yeah, the armor is absolutely wearing you.
Kelbor Hall would absolutely adore this. Kelbor Hall would have a great time.
Don't fall asleep wearing the armor. Don't fall asleep wearing the armor.
This is what I think is really fun about these kinds of cursed artifacts is that the GM has all the right to not just be mean. You know, we were talking about the painting earlier.
Yeah.
If I was the GM of that and someone decided to actually go through a heretical type of deal and start that painting up, I would totally 100% tell them the truth.
Because they went through it and it's like, hey, you know what? Give it to them.
I would let their own paranoia and fear be their own downfall. I would 100% just tell them the truth. And then
that's true because they'd have no way of knowing whether what you told them was the truth or
and we'll just let them freak out about it. It feels so much more fun that way. Just a pure bit of shenanigans.
Okay. It depends on the question.
No, that's true.
Depends on the question. Depends how important that question is to the story.
No, Shy, that's a good time. You would tell them 100% the truth, but the next time it needs a little bit more blood, and then a little bit more blood.
You
That's
make
true.
The varnish cost a little bit more each time. Okay.
And eventually, every time you screw it up, you actually get a Contempt of the Warp roll too. So I think more will happen. Like, the Contempt of the Warp is interesting because 1 through 50 is ignored, and then the other one is it's kind of funny. It's mocked. So okay. So the highest possible thing from 0 or from 1 to 80 is ignored or mocked. Mocked is funny because it's literally howls of demonic laughter fill the air, and the character's worst secrets and shames are thrown in mockery, and you gain corruption points. And then you took struck down, which is genuinely getting smacked. But the big ones occur from 91 up, which is assailed. A minor demon is summoned to kill him, and you got to deal with that.
Okay.
And then after that is possessed by a demon, and then after that is devoured, where you just get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
you gotta deal with the consequences of your actions.
It's really fun. I really loved it. I gotta get into this. I gotta be honest.
It's just like, man, this sounds like it'd be a whole lot of fun to play. It'd be really easy to get everybody killed on accident. But man, there's so much to it, and there's so many like weird items and crazy rules that like this actually sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to play.
It really does, and I feel like, I mean, I was talking to Zoran a bit, and he's a very big Pathfinder guy, and I've never played Pathfinder, and you know, I always compare everything to D&D because it's the thing that everyone knows the most,
Sure,
and it's easy to describe. But I was thinking about that for Pathfinder, and apparently it's really good. It's far more balanced. It's way less like long to like the battles don't take as long. It's a lot more smooth in a lot of ways. But I wonder how good the Rogue Trader and like Dark Heresy versions are, because I would like to play this. I really would.
Yeah, it sounds kind of kooky, crazy fun.
It sounds very goofy, but in all the good ways.
Yeah, I was gonna say in all the right ways, with like the living armor and all these crazy artifacts, and it does sound like it might be a good time.
I might need to look into it a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, this has been mainly occult artifacts, I suppose, maybe a little bit less than the dark mech, but most of these things were made by dark mech dudes, so it kind of goes back and forth for the most part. But yeah, no, it's really, really fun. I really want to do that contest. Maybe we'll talk with our Discord and chat with some folks about it, because the top 10 best artifacts made by our viewers sounds very fun.
I like that. And we have a lot of very creative fans, so I bet we'd get some nonsensical, crazy gold goodness.
I think so. Anyway, that's the fun stuff there. That's the occult artifacts and some dark mech stuff. Shy, anything to add? I'm feeling pretty jazzed.
Where can I get one of them Atheist sticks?
Who are you going to use it on?
I don't know. I'll figure something out. You know, there's we're not wanting for targets.
Sure. me entering Rome with the atheism stick, staring down the Pope.
Yeah.
You've arched your last bishop, bitch.
Funny you should ask. I just got plane tickets to the Vatican.
So, me holding the atheism stick. It's like, where are you going? It's like, oh, nowhere. Pulls up 2 tickets to the Vatican. Epic. Dun 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 dun. End of episode.